All right. Welcome to another episode of Evil Live. A very, very special episode, Stardust. We have Rainbow Fright in the building tonight. Rainbow Fright, how you feeling today?
Ooh, thank you, thank you. I'm feeling super grateful to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Rainbow Fright. She happens to be one of my favorite YouTubers, in the game right now. One of my favorite horror YouTubers. Like she has some amazing breakdowns, some amazing shorts, and like one of the top tier, most amazing voices out there, like her just the way she covers things, like you're an awesome narrator, which brings me to one of my first questions. Like, do you do voice animation, or have you ever thought about, doing like voice acting?
Yes, so I don't yet, but ever since I started my YouTube channel in 2020, I or 2021 rather, I've been thinking about getting into it. So I've actually lately been looking into voice acting and kind of
Yes.
exploring that avenue because yeah, I just keep getting compliments from folks and it's fun to do. I love just doing different things, poems, horror stories, documentary type style narrations. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in looking into that.
Yes. I can't wait. I can't wait. Especially like the way you narrate your breakdowns. It's almost like, because a lot of people, everybody can get up and review something and give their take. But I was watching one of your clips, and you did a voiceover for one of my favorite movies of last year, which was Sissy. And you pretty much like just said, oh, it wasn't her fault, it
Oh
was just
yeah.
like, I was just like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, she got it over here.
Yeah, that was something new I tried out because I wanted to dabble into shorts. And at first, I had started doing, movie reviews, short movie reviews. And then I just wanted to get more creative with it. And this was all just in December. And I was like, let me just, um, just start playing with the script and like with the characters and just how people could maybe sympathize with sometimes the enemy, or the antagonist. But yeah, those were a lot of fun to do. I'm still having fun doing those.
Yes. I really dig it. I even saw the one with Pearl, which was awesome as well. You know,
Yeah.
definitely definitely you got some great stuff. You got some great stuff out there.
Thank you. I
You
appreciate that.
say shout out to the chat. Hello, Mika. Hello, thank you for stopping by. Hey, Jaleesa, thank you for stopping by. Terrell, shout out, thank you for stopping by. And everybody's showing Sissy love. Everybody, I think we all in here love us some sissy. Hey, Keisha, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. So we're gonna get into it. I guess we could start it off with your horror origin story. How did you get into the genre?
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't necessarily be, one story in particular, but just like a collection of events rather that have kind of just led me to this path. But yeah, I just feel like horror movies have always been a part of my part of my life, luckily, because people in my family and friend circle or, my babysitter who I was with, they for the most part, liked horror movies too. So it's just kind of always, been there for me. The first um, movies that I remember watching over and over again were Poltergeist and The Lost Boys. I just remember being at my babysitter's house and just having that, I guess, be their favorites, and it just became my favorites because they were, really good movies. And my dad, he had on repeat as far as horror that I can remember was Evil Dead, and that was just,
Yes.
at that age, it just became so normalized to see that kind of stuff. So, I just kind of always craved more and more of those kinds of things and was never necessarily like scared of those things. It just got me excited. The suspense and the on the edge of your seat feeling just was always fun compared to any other genre, which I love movies in general. I've always been just a lover of movies. But I wouldn't say like I was a horror fan until maybe like I've always been a horror fan, but I wouldn't label myself as a horror fan, I guess, until maybe about high school or even a little bit later because I just thought I just loved dark movies and just loved movies in general. Because I went to film school. I actually was in an art school in high school, and I switched my major from orchestra to cinema just because I was done with orchestra and I wanted to keep my GPA high being in that art school. And so I was like, oh, I'll just do cinema on a whim. Ended up loving it. And I was like, holy crap. I want to be a filmmaker. Screw everything else I thought about doing in life. Like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. That's it. And so, it was just, you know, um, second nature to do dark films. A lot of my films that I made in high school just naturally were scary or they were like weird crime drama stories. And those are the kind of movies that I gravitated towards. And yeah, that's kind of where it's gone and how it's going.
Yes, yes. So film school, awesome.
Yeah,
So did how is it, like because you do a lot of reviews and breakdowns. So how is it looking at films, from like before you went to film school to after you went to film school? Because I'm sure you pick up on a lot of things and a lot of techniques and things like that. So how is it
sure.
looking at movies from someone who's looking at it from an educated lens per se?
Sure. So sometimes I do pick at movies. Some movies will just sometimes get the short end of my judgmental stick, but other movies that might have the same shortcomings, I'll like more just because. So I can have the magnifying glass on a movie and scrutinize it, but it could uh, still be a decent movie for other folks, to watch, but I'm just like, oh, I just can't get past these certain things. But with another movie with those same things, I'll be like, oh, this is my favorite movie because it has these other things going for it. Um, so yeah, even though I might, from another person's perspective, have my experience diminished because I am looking at things that other folks aren't. But at the same time, I'm like opening myself up to that much more, and appreciating when a movie doesn't have these things and they're still accomplishing these other things. That's a whole nother appreciation that other folks might not understand. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. I was even watching. I forget the name of the movie, but you did like a little breakdown of a film where a guy he filmed the entire movie at like Disney World or
Oh,
Disneyland.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He actually shot him at both places and just, called it Disney World. But yeah. Mm
wow,
hmm.
wow. But I just saw like the rating you gave it, but you still had your appreciation, for the movie.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so I just
Yeah,
respect that.
yeah, because it's somebody's blood, sweat, and tears, and that's their art, and I'm not a big person on talking crap about somebody's art. And that's why on my channel, I typically pick movies that I like to talk about, not movies that I dislike, even though recently I have been doing new films just because I'm trying to, hop on that algorithm and get some new folks
Yes.
on the page, and new releases will bring that. But as far as doing my longer reviews and doing those longer videos, it'll be mostly, my personal favorites. And that Disney movie, though, was actually a subscriber request just to kind of mix things up. And I was typically doing those once a month. And so, yeah, sometimes it can be tough, if I don't necessarily love something that my friend likes, I have to talk about it. And like, just the same thing with art, even if I don't know the director or anybody involved on the film, and I may never meet them ever, I still don't want to badmouth, you know, their work.
I
So,
completely understand. Completely
yeah,
understand. Especially, being a content creator yourself, and you know how much hard work goes into it, and just
yeah,
you just want to push out positive energy. You don't want
Right,
any,
because people mhm.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
it's gonna come around.
Yeah.
It's gonna come around to you. It's gonna come around to you. You
Because
know,
the whole thing too is, people don't know about certain movies, and you just wanna spread the word about the good movies, and why
yes,
keep a good movie back when you're talking about a bad movie in a bad way, or what you perceive to be a bad movie. So yeah, push the good stuff forward.
yes, yes, most definitely, most definitely. Shout out to Germs. Germs just joined us in the building. We got a lot of love in the chat for the Evil Dead. When you had mentioned that, and Poltergeist. Mika had said, yes, Zelda Rubinstein had such a distinct voice. Loved her in Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So I you name some classic movies as like your beginning, your start. I really love when people bring up the Evil Dead because it's one of my favorites, one of my like movies that's near and dear, to my heart. One of the first movies that actually scared me, was Evil Dead. So do you have a movie, like a one movie that like frightened you, like that you can remember, like the first movie that kind of frightened you?
Um, that frightened me. It would have to have been something that was, like, super grounded in reality, um, like a psychological thriller or something like that. I'm trying to pinpoint one thing, I'm trying just to come up with something just to come up with something. Um, but yeah, not necessarily one movie sticks out in my brain. Okay. So this isn't the first movie, but an example of it would have been something like Midsummer,
Oh,
when, the folks are completing the ritual. I forget, how graphic I can get on your channel with, like, words
you
and
can
things I want you
go.
to get.
You can go
Okay.
all the way.
So, yeah, when the older couple jumps off the cliff and commits suicide so that way they can let the rest of the folks prosper and all that is just, like, trippy, and even though that's based in real life, but like just cult culture is just super scary, and just seeing folks turn um so easily in that way is just terrifying. um so maybe something like Children of the Corn, that probably would be like a good first example, like just seeing these little, children, even though that was kind of spiritual and a little supernatural, right? But it's just the same idea of just cult culture, just people having, their thoughts manipulated and being brainwashed, and that being a real thing, in real life. So that would be probably an example of one of the first ones that just had me thinking like, whoa, this world is pretty scary.
Yes, yes. Super, super uber scary. I have a fondness of watching like documentaries where there's cults involved. Like I was watching
Mhm.
like HBO has a bunch, there was one where these people, it was like a mass suicide, but they
Oh,
were,
yeah, Jim Jones.
yes, yes, and they were just calling each other like odally and yodely and all this stuff. And I think one guy at one point they were like, all right, well, you gotta castrate yourself to be at a higher being or something. And it was just like, what is going on here? Like I could
Yeah, I think that was the Seventh Gate, I forget the name of them, but that was a
yeah,
different cult, I believe, and yeah, that whew, terrible. Heaven's Gate? Yeah,
yeah,
Heaven's
Heaven's
Gate.
Gate, yeah, yeah. just
Mm-mm.
just craziness, but because that it's real, like uh there's people out there who can read books, or who just have the gift to read you and manipulate you and just make make people more susceptible to do things that they wouldn't necessarily normally do, which is wild,
Sure.
which is wild,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know. But shout out to King Gore for joining us.
What's
Joining
up?
us. Shout out
What
to
up, what
Whitney
up?
for joining us. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We got Rainbow Fright in the building tonight. She's got some good questions, some good answers to these questions, you know. Now, do you have a favorite subgenre, you know, of horror?
Yeah, definitely psychological thriller. And then, I'd also have to say um like body gore, torture movies, which is, I know pretty terrible, but they're just fun. Like tasteful ones too, and some of the bad ones, but not like really like terrible ones. And I've recently gotten, more into zombie movies. And yeah, and yeah, I'd have to say those would be like my top. And then like natural disaster type things, like, virus type things, same things like with zombies, or, day after tomorrow type stuff, just things dealing with the earth.
Ooh,
So yeah.
ooh. See, when it comes to like disaster movies, like I'll watch it, but it's never a good idea for me. It's never a good idea. Like as a
Because
kid,
it can happen.
yes, yes. As a kid, I would stress out. I'd be like, "Oh my god!" And my mom would be like, "What's wrong with you? Like, why? What's going on?" I'd be like, "The Earth, global warming, it's happening. It's real." Like growing up in California, they used to have on the news all the time, the Africanized bees are coming, you know, and
Oh no, yeah.
the bees are coming, you know, and it's just so much stuff going on with the world. And my like I don't have like I can watch any horror movie and not necessarily have a nightmare about what's going on in the film. My nightmares consist of tornadoes. So whenever I see a tornado movie, like there's like a tinge of anxiety that spikes, you know, because of that.
Okay. So you just gave me the answer to your previous question, and that would be Twister. Because I specifically remember Twister. We saw that at the theaters. I was around 7, 8 or so. And I just remember hearing the whistles. And I was just like, man, this sound is so awesome. Like, I feel like I'm in this tornado with them. This is so cool.
Yes.
But I was also scared because I was like, I grew up in Texas and we always had tornado warnings. And, uh, I we lived by a highway bridge where I, prepared in my mind to go to if we had to, and so yeah, Twister would probably be another answer to that question from before.
Ooh, so you've been in tornado warnings. Like, have you ever seen a tornado? You know, like
No, thankfully,
okay,
just, the little dust devils, little
okay,
dust storms from afar too, but not an actual tornado that could destroy anything. Thank goodness.
yes,
But I feel like, we've been really close to where the damage was, miles away, but never saw it.
yes, yes. Because I don't know. I've just like there are certain places that I would love to live and visit. You know, and as scared as I am of tornadoes as a kid, I wanted to be a meteorologist. You know,
Oh,
and I was
cool.
like, okay, so I could learn a little bit more about tornadoes, but now it's just like it's just turned into something else. 'Cause I turned Twister on, and like you said, like I remember watching it as a kid, and the wind, and you know, what is it, Helen Hunt? She's like, "Oh, it's gonna miss this house, and it's gonna hit that house, and it's gonna come after you." And I was just like, "Oh man, this it's a lot it's a lot that's going on." But yes, Twister, ladies and gentlemen, they're actually making a sequel. They announced a sequel.
A
I,
sequel, not
yes,
a remake?
not a sequel, yeah, a sequel,
Okay,
yeah. I'm
interesting.
interested, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
to see what they're gonna come up with.
She just revived her Mad About You show, so she's like, "Let's get everything else off the ground maybe," or,
Yes,
the other awesome thing I did.
yes,
That'd be cool.
mad about you. Now I just that theme song just popped into my head. That
Do, do, do.
mad- Yes, yes, Terrell's like sequel. Yes, there's a sequel coming up. Twister to Twister, which I have to actually. That's one I gotta buy on Blu-ray. Gotta buy on Blu-ray. But you had mentioned psychological thrillers
Yeah.
earlier. Are there any at all, you know, that pop up into your brain that are some of your favorites or some of your go-tos?
Sure. let's see, like recently I've been rewatching Afterlife because I've done a couple of videos on it. That's a good one with Christina Ricci and Liam Neeson. Uh,
Yes.
it just messes with you because she's supposed to be dead in the morgue, and he is basically telling her that he can talk to people who are dead, and he can like help them carry on to the afterlife, and she's just kind of alive and not uh believing him, but also believing him because she stays there. But the way that it's shot and done, like, regardless of what you believe, like, it's still kind of ambiguous as to whether or not, she's alive. So that one's a good one. Bug is another one of my absolute
Oh,
favorites because it's just the epitome of a psychological thriller. It just gets into your mind and you can feel things, and it's just great. I love
mm, mm.
it.
I bought Bug on DVD, I think last year.
Oh,
To
yeah?
yeah, and I watched it and I was just like, it creeps because I knew what was gonna happen, but it creeped me out again. I was like, this is years later. I'm a man now, but I'm still getting creeped out. It's very
Yes.
it very like it's very cerebral. Even there were certain scenes that are just like very unsettling, especially,
Mhm.
for I mean, I recommend everyone see it, but when certain things are getting lit on fire, I'm just like, oh my God, what's
Yes.
going
I
on here?
definitely don't like to spoil or ruin that one at all. I always just say, "Bug, watch it." It's so good.
Yes. Yes. So now speaking since you've seen Bug, if the girl was you, would you have let Michael Shannon in your would you have let Michael Shannon in your house? You
In
know?
my house. Well, the thing is, her best friend, who she's, like, apparently super close to, was the one who brought him in behind her. That's what sucks. It's like she trusted her friend, and yeah, he did, leave and come back, but she had already had a familiarity with him. And because she was so lonely, like me, no, 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 no. Like after he left the first time, okay, bye. you know, but, she was just that lonely, and maybe if I was that, no, I don't think so. It's also just all kinds of things. It's all kinds of things that accumulated into her having this break, and, one of those steps was being vulnerable and letting this person in because she was super lonely. Like, she didn't want her friend to leave, but she left, but yet this guy was willing to hang out, so she's like, "Alright, well, I guess I'll hang out with you then." So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's always interesting to see like you take a character who's obviously like a screw he has a screw loose, and then you have another character who seemingly has a good head on their shoulders, and they're in a room and then the other character is just feeding the conspiracies and the foolishness. It brings up
Yep.
another movie in my mind, like The Mist, where
Oh,
you
yeah.
you get into the grocery store, and the woman, she's talking about, oh, this is God, and next thing you know, people are ready to cut each other's throats.
Yep.
Very Twilight Zone esque. The monsters are due on Maple Street, esque. you know
Yep. It's that cult culture mixed with that fear of the end, the fear of death, and people will do anything, survival of the fittest, they'll do anything to survive. So, yeah, it's crazy.
yes, yes, yes. Mika says Bug was a trip. Terrell said I hated Bug first watch, but I
Aw.
rewatched it later and I love it.
Nice.
Germ says one thing for certain and two things for sure. After every Evil Live, I add another horror movie to my watch list. Just added Bug. Yes,
Nice.
yes, Germs. Yes, that's why I love talking horror with people, because I get so many recommendations. Not only do I mention some of my favorites, but other people mention theirs, and then I'm jotting them down. So I'm jotting things down. We all
Another good one. Would y'all want some more?
yes, yes, yes.
So The Machinist is really, really good as well
Ooh,
with, what's his name, Christian Bale. He just straight loses his mind. And then a more artsy one would be Pi from the 90s. It's just pi, the mathematical term, and that really gets into your mind too. The noises and the repetitiveness um, is awesome. And then actually, the same director also did one of my absolute favorite movies ever, no matter what, is Requiem for a Dream, which is a hard watch for a lot of folks, especially at the end. But oh, it's one of my absolute favorite movies ever.
Jaleesa's gonna love that because that's one of her favorites as well. Requiem
Mhm.
for a Dream. I've never seen it, but I've heard like it is a hard watch. You know, like
Mhm.
I figure I gotta be like in a great mood. You know, sometimes some movies or some things I'm like I
With the
gotta be
sunlight.
yeah, just gotta be in a
Yeah,
light
daytime.
mood. You know,
Mhm.
just to take it in, take it in. Mika says the Machinist is a great film. Yes, yes.
Yes.
I'm writing that on the list because I have not seen it. I have not seen it yet. So my next question would be: do you have a favorite decade of horror?
Um, it would be definitely 90s or 2000s. Um, I want to say probably just 90s, but yeah, because they're so similar, But yeah, 90s probably, because that's probably my most formative decade, I guess.
Yeah, I think '90s was more like hardcore. I feel like the 2000s they got more into like PG-13. We got a lot of
Sure.
PG-13,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
movies,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the '90s was a time. '90s was a time. '90s gave us Scream, you know.
Yep. Yep.
'90s gave us Jeepers Creepers, you know.
Yep.
Some amazing things.
Misery was great.
Yes.
Stir of Echoes, Sixth
Oh,
Sense.
yes. Oh, I remember I saw Stir of Echoes and The Sixth Sense at the drive-in. Like you're bringing
Oh,
back memories.
nice.
Yes, you're
Hell
bringing back
yeah.
memories. Yes, yes. Stir of Echoes. I just remember him uh chopping away at the basement in the cement in the basement.
All dirty.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah, so those are some of your '90s favorites. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I've got a lot of people. When I interview them now, they like a lot. When I first started interviews, a lot of people would say like '80s, '70s, but now a lot of people are like, "Yo, the '90s were it," and I respect it because the '90s
Yeah.
it was my time. I was there. I was there. You know?
And I think, yeah, it's just a different vibe completely from the 80s. And it was just the very next decade. Like you said, things were darker, things were more serious. I'm sure, yeah, there was the goofy stuff here and there, but, you know, Wes did his thing with Scream, and things kind of went that way with comedy and satirical stuff. And of course, we were always and had always, our really over the top silly stuff, but general, yeah. It just fed into my psychological thriller love and my crime drama stuff. I love true crime. When I first started my channel, I did, a series called True Crime and Nails, where I would do my nails while I would tell you a true crime story. So, movies based on true crime or fictional crime, I was into it. So, yeah,
Yes,
it was a good time for that.
yes, yes. Love it, love it. Now, my next question would be as far as like your favorite medium of soaking up, films. Would it be going to the movie theater? Would it be, staying at home? Would it be, on the go when you're on your mobile devices?
Man, I mean, I sort of envy those who watch stuff on their mobile devices, but man, I just wouldn't be able to catch anything. But if I could choose, I would go to the movie theater as often as I can, but would hope that it would be a full theater. You know, for the past literal years, I've gone to the movies and I'm the one or, one of 10 people there, which has been
Yes.
sad and unfortunate. I just can't get a full crowd. But I love watching movies at home too. I want both because all movies, should be seen in the theater, and I think are made to be seen in the theater, but aren't necessary, and can just be watched at home and just enjoyed at home. Um, but yeah, I love the theater experience, and it's so exciting every time, even if you're going by yourself and there's nobody there, there's only one attendant doing the popcorn and the ticketing and the
Yes.
whatever, it's still fun and exciting to go,
Yes.
so,
Yes. That's
yeah.
one of the things that I like. I think after high school, I started going to the theater by myself, especially during the matinee. And I saw Insidious by myself, and the matinee
Nice.
was the only one. And I thought someone was sitting behind me eating, popcorn or whatever, but it turns out there was no one behind me, which, could
Oh,
have been a
no.
paranormal experience, but, neither that's neither here nor there. But I agree. Like movies, there's nothing like the movie theater. Like it's one of my favorite, places to go. And then we've seen the evolution of the theater. Where we've been in the hard seats, and we're leaning up a certain way, and now we're used to the recline. You hit the recline, and they got the
Yeah.
nice leather seats, and they bring out your drinks and your food and stuff like that, and it's a whole new experience, which is another one of the other reasons why I love your channel is you show that. You're like, oh, like I get movie and I get the food aspect, which I really appreciate as well, because I love food. So it's
Yes. Thank you,
yes.
yeah. The food thing, I've been creeping in there a little bit just because, food was also on my mind as far as creating a channel, and it's still there. Might add it more to this channel or just create another channel down the road, but yeah, food is just always on my mind. I love it.
Oh yes, oh yes. I had to learn how to balance it out, because when I first found out they could serve me like nachos or burgers and fries and all this, I'm on the recline, and I'm interested in the movie, but I started knocking out. Like it became a thing where
Yeah. Be
certain times of the
careful.
movie, yeah, was knocked out.
Yeah.
But we find a balance. We find a balance, and then with the whole pandemic and everything happening, like a lot of the theaters, got hurt. So it's you
Yeah.
start to see more and more crowds, depending on certain movies, like Black Panther. Like it's too many people. Some movies I'm like, oh, it's too many of y'all in here, it's too many of y'all coughing in here. At least
Oh,
at least,
yeah.
at
Yeah,
least if you
yeah,
cough
yeah,
and take it outside, because I ain't got time for it. Because yeah, I ain't got
Dang
time
it.
for it. Yeah, yeah, or people like, because now we reserve seats. So I remember one time I went to the movie theater, and somebody was in the reserved seats, and you got to deal with that. It's like all these seats in here, and it was an empty theater. Like how you with somebody reserved seats in an empty theater? That's crazy,
Oh,
you know. But
people.
yes, yes. Well, we got some comments. Mika said the '90s reinvigorated horror, some gems. Yes. Stir of Echoes is very underrated. Germ says 90s meta was unmatched. Facts, facts. Jaleesa says bring back the nails and true crime. I would totally watch. Yes, yes. So there's definitely a a nostalgia about especially the 90s now. There's definitely a nostalgia about it. You know,
Yeah.
um, it's a lot of which we see, especially like the younger crowd, they're bringing it back, with what they love, and wearing the shirts and everything. So
Mhm.
it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see. But my next question would be, could you name a film that you wish that you would have been on the set for?
Um, just because it would be hilarious. the whole time on set would be for Tusk with
Oh.
Justin Long. There was a lot of improving going back and forth, and just watching the movie, I crack up all the time, especially when he's in that wheelchair. And just to be there, it would just be funny, and just to see his transformation, and to see him getting in that costume and doing all that stuff and getting from one location to another, it would just be so much fun to be
Yes.
there.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned Tusk because Tusk, I love whenever people give Tusk some love. It's one of those
Yes.
movies that I love showing people on a blind watch. Like they don't know anything about it, and I just throw Tusk on, you know. It's it's awesome. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Like, especially like I was listening to Kevin Smith's his podcast, and he was like there was an episode where they came up with the idea for Tusk. So just to see
Yeah.
them just being silly and coming up with the idea and then the movie coming to fruition, it was just like, oh, so this is how it's done. It's not, some the magic hand of God reaches down and
Not with this one in particular. He got lucky because, yeah, it was like some post on Craigslist that he had found, and he just was like, "Yeah, I'll make this into a movie maybe if you guys vote yes." And just on a whim, he put all this money, got Johnny Depp to be in it too,
yes.
and just did, this weird ass thing that, we might get a part two of, which would be pretty cool. I don't know where we're gonna go with it because Howard, he's in real life, I forget his name, has passed away. So I'm not sure what direction, but I'm down to see what they do.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Now we got Mika. She said before reserved seats, I used to race to the theater to get to the seats and make those coming attractions. Yes, yes. I want to know what type of moviegoer are you, Rainbow? Like when are you the type to get there super early? Are you the type to get there just before the credits or after the credits?
After the credits, hell no. That's so rude. Come on now. No, but I strive to be there right as the movie starts. Like, I really just want to get there after all the attractions because I hate watching trailers. But I also just hate coming in like late or like uh, risking traffic or whatever. And sure, I could sit in the lobby and just sit around until right when the credits start, but I'm just like, or in the car rather. But I usually just get there and just get in, you know. But typically, yeah. Lately, because I've been going to the movies a lot recently, and that's just kind of how I've been, doing things as far as my schedule and stuff goes. But uh, I unfortunately do sometimes catch trailers despite me trying to miss them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I was like, when you said that, I'm like, oh, this now, like movies now must be a nightmare because you get there on time, you got to sit through like 20 minutes of trailers.
Yes.
Um,
And I've been making note though of the theaters that have a lesser amount of trailers because some of them are 20, 25 minutes. Others I found have done like 10 minutes. So I'm like, okay, making a
wow.
note of that. Thanks. you know?
Wow. So I didn't even think about that. Like theater by theater, they're the advertisements, what they pay for
Hmm.
advertisements, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Cause I'm exactly germs, germ. This we there with it. We there with it because
Yeah.
I'm there when Maria Menounos is talking too. When she like, welcome to the movies. I'm there when it's pitch black dark. I'm there when the custodian is still sweeping out the popcorn. Out of the the last movie. Like I remember when the Dark Knight came out. I had took my little brother and my sister and we got there about like an hour early. Like I'm
Dang.
one that gets there early as possible. Now, I'm not as bad as I used to be. I don't get there that early anymore, but I'd always, strive to get there as early as possible so I can get my popcorn and just
Exactly.
I just like to get settled. I like to see who all in here. who all in here? I want to see. I want to see. Because
Comfortable with my surroundings a little
yes,
bit.
yes, yes. I want to know who all in here. I don't want the sticky
Yeah.
seats. I don't want the sticky chairs. I want to, especially like if we're going somewhere like a movie tavern where you got to order your food. I want my
I
food
was
out
gonna say that
at a
too,
certain
yeah.
time. Because sometimes they don't bring your food out until like an hour and a half into the movie. Which
Yeah,
is
irritating.
yeah, like it was one time we had went to this theater. I think it's called like the Tower. Like it was by the Tower Theater in Philadelphia, but it's like a movie tavern type of deal where you go in, you order your food. So we go into the theater. I think we were seeing Annabelle Comes Home, which we go into the theater, we order our food, and the food never came. I'm looking at the clock. Oh, half an hour. Food still not here.
Mm-mm.
Hour. Food still not here. Hour and a half. Oh, food still not here. It's 10 minutes before the movie end. Guy comes up to me. He's like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Ready for what?" He's like, "To pay." And I'm like, "To pay what?" He's like, "The bill."
Oh,
And
no, you never ever got it?
I'm
Dang.
like, "The food ain't never come, man." And he just looks so irritated. He just looks so irritated. I'm like, you look irritated. I'm over here, chicken stripless. I made, because you got your own menu selections when you go to these food theaters.
Yeah.
Fine.
And that's the thing too, is that I've been going to a lot of those kinds of theaters, and you do get used to getting there early so you can be polite and order your food and stuff. But sometimes I just get ready and I talk to that server and be like, okay, I'm gonna order right when the movie starts because I don't want to be done with my food before it even starts.
Yes.
So I'll have to time it that way. And a lot of times it's annoying too. You got to tell them what you want because they'll only come back one or zero times after giving you your food and your one drink. Like, clearly, I want at least two drinks if I'm going to spend $10 on a drink, you
Yes.
know? So, yeah, it can be tricky.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I need a carafe. I need something that's gonna last me
Yeah.
a while, especially if I'm gonna watch like I think I was watching it and the chapter one, and it was I think over a little over 2 hours, if
Oh,
not
yeah.
just
It's
two
a long
hours.
one.
But it was I had my drink, and I was just I was sitting nice. I was sitting nice. It was my birthday, I was sitting nice. Sitting
Yeah.
nice.
Have you
Um,
ever been to an iPick before?
I pick. No, what's I pick?
It's this kind of the same thing, but it's just really, really nice. And the service there is just like almost like a nicer restaurant, so they're just more attentive. And I believe there's a button, I want to say like an airplane service button, if I remember that right, because I've been there at least 2 or 3 times. I just remember it being like just extra pleasant compared to your typical Alamo Draft House or other movie and food theater. But yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, I've like I would love to go to an ice pick one day because like we had out here we had a studio movie grill which was trash. I went once, they was trash, and then years later I went again, they was trash. That's the one where the
No.
second time they ended up not bringing my food out. So I was just like, oh,
Dang.
this is what we doing. But we used to go to the movie tavern, and they were really nice. Like the service was great, the food was great, everything. And then the pandemic happened, and then
Mm.
no, it was actually no, not even the pandemic. I'm mistaken. It was before the pandemic. Some guy brought it. He bought the company out, and he renamed it Marcus Theaters after himself. He's like, "Hi, I'm Marcus. This is Marcus Theaters."
Okay.
And so
Okay.
the complete menu changed. Like, we just like it went from like a booklet to just like four flaps,
Oh,
some
no.
appetizers. Yeah, I was just like, oh, what's the point of me spending? Because it would be, you're paying premium prices. You're paying like $15 and up per ticket, and then you're ordering your drinks, especially alcoholic
Yeah.
drinks, food, tip. So it's a whole experience. You know, I was spending
Yeah.
more at the movie theater than I was spending on, you know, a date, you know, a regular date going out. I was like, oh, this is getting out of
Yeah,
line,
exactly.
you know. But you know, still fond memories. But we definitely are looking for a new good like dine-in experience theater, you know, that we can go to, you know, because
Yeah, I gotta see if there's one here in Denver. I've been living here for just a few months, but haven't bothered to look for an iPick just yet. I just joined the Regal Unlimited Pass, so I've just been going
yes.
to a bunch of Regals lately. So
Oh,
they're all right.
how is that? How is that? How's the Regal Pass?
It's cool. It's completely unlimited. It's like $20 a month, and you can go to as many movies as you want. It's pretty
Mm.
awesome.
So is it unlimited
Some
for
of
one
them,
person or
yeah, yeah,
okay, gotcha.
yep,
All right.
yeah.
I'm sold. I'm sold. Cause I have Cinemark. I'm a part of their I forget what it's called, but I'm a part of like the Cinemark club, and it's like you get discounts and you get a free movie ticket, you know, every month, and then like all your tickets are like at a cheaper discounted rate, you know. But it's granted it's down the street, so it takes me like 10 minutes to walk to the movie theaters, you know, where we live at right now, you
Nice.
know. So but I definitely was looking at because a lot of people were saying Regal and AMC they were talking about, you know, has some good deals. But you said Regal, so I'm definitely gonna look into it, you know.
Yeah, I forget the thing about AMC that made me choose Regal over them. I feel like there was a limit somewhere. Like some of them were 3 movies a week. One of them was like 1 movie a month. I was like, that doesn't even cover the cost. Like, why would you
Yeah.
even do that? Um, but yeah, and you also get some like food discounts from time to time. You can collect points and all that good stuff. So it's
Oh
been
yeah.
pretty cool. Only thing for me though is that my theaters are pretty far, and the closest one that's to me, the closest one to me, is like right downtown where parking is crappy, and so
Ah,
I end up having to go to like ones that are not far, but just not down the street. So that's
yeah.
the only downfall.
As moviegoers, we will travel for a movie, especially for IMAX or you
Yeah.
know a premium screen. We will travel.
Yes,
So,
yes. I just tried 4DX for the first time, and
mm,
that was just awesome. It was with Top Gun, unfortunately, but it was really good. Like the movie was good. My,
yes.
husband wanted to watch it, and I was like, "All right, let's go," because he's always watching all my horror movies. And, for what it was a really good time in those seats. I haven't gone back into one, but can't wait for the next one. It was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely got to check out 4DX. I've never been. I think I've been to like an Adobe Cinema
Oh
and
yeah.
the IMAX. Like I really enjoy Dolby sound when I do go. I guess I'm just as long as I'm comfortable, I'm fine. You know, like I remember they were advertising when what was it? Pacific Rim came out, and they have a museum out here called the Franklin Institute, and they have a theater, and it's like this huge screen. It's like this dome screen, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, this is high quality. This is amazing. Sound is amazing, but I'm having to keep turning my neck, you know,
To
over
see
here.
everything.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I need you gotta have me in the back. That's why when me and Jaleesa go to the theater, we're in the last row. We are definitely like those are our seats, the last row. You know, we make sure that we get the two in the last row because we get to see everybody, and you know
Yeah.
we but we also get you know a nice view and don't gotta worry about no like I haven't had a kid kick me in the back in years, you know,
There
because
you go.
you know
Yeah.
it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on in this theaters. But yes, I definitely gotta check out a 4DX theater. Also what is it? The well actually no, it's the 4DX is when you feel like the water and the
Yeah, the wind, the water, the seats moving all around
oh
you
so that had to be
crazy.
fun. That had to
Yes, yes.
wow.
It was crazy. Like, if you're not careful, you could fall out of that seat, I feel like. You
Wow.
totally could.
See, they need
So,
something like that for like it. They see something like that,
Yeah. That's what I'm
horror.
waiting for. The next
Yes.
horror in 40, like, I'm there. The next 40X movie I watch will be a horror movie, or at least like a crazy thriller or something like that. So,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes. I see Mika says I love IMAX, can't deal with the theaters where the seats are moving. Gave me whiplash.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
possible.
it happens. It happens. I think the first type of seats like that I sat in were like at Disneyland or Universal Studios when you get on the
Mm,
little ride and the screen and stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that was
I
that was
haven't done that
before.
just yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It's so fun. It's just now that I'm older, I need to take a Dramamine before because I just find myself getting dizzy and I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. This is
I
not
feel
good.
that. Because I
Yes.
used to, I mean, I still love roller coasters, but yeah, I could ride them all day. But now as an adult, I can do maybe 4 rides max before my stomach starts to get a little weird. So,
Well,
but it's,
well,
it's cool. I'm fine with it. It happens.
yes. Well, bless you because oh my God, even as a kid, when it came to roller coasters, I would get nervous whenever my parents would be like, "Oh, we're going to Marine World in 6 months. We plan on going to the summer." I would instantly get nervous. My stomach would drop because I would
Oh,
not like the roller coasters at all.
I
And I
loved it.
guess, yeah, it's just something about that rush. Like I just remember I would get over it by singing or rapping like a song on the
There you
radio or
go.
whatever. So it would get pretty funny. But yeah, roller. I'm the guy at the bottom. I watch everybody's stuff while I'm eating some French fries.
That
I'm
person is
good.
important. Yep.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. Now, my next question for you would be, we're in 2023, and we have so many different poor content creators, especially content creators of color and just, so many different people from all different backgrounds and everything. And I just, we just didn't have this, when we were younger. So how does it feel to be a part of that community in 2023?
It feels awesome. It feels awesome to be making connections with people with similar and different interests and just kind of supporting each other, without question or without being asked. And, just kind of being your internet friends, especially with the pandemic, because I started my channel right in the middle of or right when it started, right at like the 4, 5, 6 month mark when everything shut down. I was like, all right, well, I can't work anymore. What am I gonna do? Let's do this YouTube channel. Why not? And so I wasn't seeing my friends. I wasn't going out doing anything. We actually had moved to deep, South Texas. And so even if we were going out and doing things, we didn't know anybody there, but we certainly weren't going to go out and do anything. Um, so when I created the channel and started meeting and talking with folks, it just felt cool to kind of reconnect again in a different way, obviously, versus face to face. But um, it was just awesome to have that happened the way that it did. And just I continue to meet new people, it seems like every week, and growing these different relationships and just figuring out more and discovering more and just having a good time as like everything just evolves. YouTube, myself, my channel, just life and everything. So it's been a fun experience.
Yes, yes. One of the few positive things that have come out of the pandemic, is the
Yeah.
creativity, and just people being like, you know what, I can't hang out with my friends, or for whatever various reasons, you may have they may be sick, or they may be like me, who was super serious about like staying in the house or the mask. Like, 'cause when this stuff first popped off, I wasn't going nowhere.
Yep.
I was using up all my sick time, and I wasn't even sick. I was just in the house. I was just like, oh no, we're not going nowhere. We're not going
It's
nowhere.
ridiculous how they made us respond to it. They should have just let everybody stay home, take care of us. I mean, I know, we didn't do, what we should have done as far as like staying home for those 2 weeks, which is why it went so long. But whatever, whoever fault that is, like the government and whomever should have just fixed it. Like, we fucked up. Now you fix it and just let us stay home, pay us immediately. Like, yes, we got unemployment and stuff, but some people didn't, or it took too long. People still got
Yes.
evicted. And it was just such a freaking shame. And yeah, I get sad thinking about it all the time. But yeah, the silver lining was, I got to start this basically awesome new life. So
Yes.
uh, it's bittersweet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely like, it was sort of like just being getting into the community and just mingling with other people. It sort of like was an upliftment, for a lot of people's mental health and stuff, especially
Oh,
not
yeah.
being able to go into certain spaces, concerts or arenas and things like that, like watching a game or a wrestling match. And you don't even see people in the audience, you just see like the screens, of people's faces and stuff. It was very trippy, very trippy, but
Yeah.
yes, yes. Germ says introverts shine during the pandemic. Facts, facts. It was the rise of the introverted. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Amika says the horror community has been a great community, overall positive interactions. Yes, I agree. I agree. Most definitely, most definitely. Now, my next question for you would be what was a movie that you wish you could have seen again for the first time?
Oh man. For the first time. Mm, um, I'll go with Slither.
Ooh,
Slither. Yeah. Elizabeth Banks and other names that I should know off the top of my head, but it's a James Gunn movie. And yeah, it's just hilarious and disgusting and just so freaking funny. It's
yes.
just so funny.
Yes. Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's a good time. It's just a fun time. It's just a very fun time,
Mhm.
especially a fun, disgusting time, when you think about it. It's like, but it's very it's one of those it's a comfort movie for me. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, what's your comfort movie or whatever," but I feel like there's just a list of movies that I can go to that bring me comfort, and I'm just like, "Oh, I can watch this anytime," and have a
Yep.
great time.
And it's still funny every time.
Yes, yes, most definitely, most definitely. Shout out to Elizabeth Banks, who was uh Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers, and
Oh,
also
really?
yes, yes, she was hamming it up. She was ham, but I loved it. I loved it. Also, she's doing Cocaine Bear, which I'm excited
Oh,
about.
yeah.
You know,
Yes.
excited to see what they do with that, which is I never thought I'd be excited to be like, all right, I'm going to go see Cocaine Bear, but here we are. Here we
I
are.
know.
Um, just like the other day, I had bought tickets to see Winnie the Pooh. Never thought I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go see that Winnie the Pooh movie. But here we are. Here we are.
Evil poo.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently the cocaine bear story is a true one. A bear did accidentally, you know, uh, ingest some cocaine, but pretty sure a lot of it's going to be a bit exaggerated. And the poor bear did pass away. I was
Mm,
hoping when I was, reading that I was like, okay, maybe he survived somehow, but no. But yeah, it's funny what people will turn into a movie.
yeah, it's like they're
Just grabbing
always
at things.
yes, they're always trying to like fun up a bear. And I'm just like, a bear is a bear. Like, have you not seen The Revenant? Like, when I saw The
Um,
Revenant, I was just
I
terrified.
still need to see it.
Oh, what you know what? I have my issues with it. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that was damn good. Then upon second watch, I was like, okay, I have some issues with it, just as far as like culturally, because I think they like to pump out that same old story or whatever. And I was just like, okay, like I have my, but I still somewhat enjoyed it for what it was, But I guess it's the same issues that I have with something like an Avatar movie,
Mm,
which I know a lot of people loved. I think it made it did make a lot of money. They always make a lot of money, the Avatar movies.
yep. It's like one
Yeah.
of the highest grossing films ever now. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. The blue people, you know. Um, but my next question would be, uh, for as far as horror, what does it do for you, if anything, for your mental health? You know.
yeah. It totally is a stress reliever, you know, just, like I mentioned before, just that feeling and that tensing up. And then, having that mixed with other emotions is just kind of cathartic, you know. Even if I haven't been through a certain situation, I might fear being in that situation, or I know I'll never be in that situation. But if I was, this is what it would be like. Like all the different scenarios, like still bring about that level of, excitement. And it's just awesome. I just love that feeling of being able just to sit down, not be mobile, not have to go on a roller coaster or go on a dangerous mountain bike trip or whatever. I could just be here and have that feeling, you know.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that's what I love about it.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that. I love asking people that question, because I get a little glimpse. I get a little glimpse into the mind, because everybody has their own feelings of what emotions that horror brings out of them, which I
Yeah.
might actually do a live about that, because that would be actually interesting, just just uh just that whole subject, when it comes to
Yeah, with the
horror.
panel of people. Yeah, that would be
Yes,
cool.
yes, yes. What did I just watch? Popped in Horror Freak, Lady Shasha. Thank you for stopping by, Shasha. Thank you. Mika says Revenant, great film, Tyrone. It did have some issues, yes, yes, but still, still a relatively great film. Still did its thing. Still did its thing.
And I
Um,
really wanted to watch it. I just, for whatever reason, haven't. There's so many movies. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch that as soon as it comes out, and then just didn't.
Yeah.
Let
Well,
it go.
it happens. There are so many movies out there. It's just like, and I got so many recommendations. It's just like I can't keep up. I remember as a kid, I used to watch the same tape over and over, the same VHS tape over and over. But now, I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I can't watch what's that movie that I just watched that I really enjoyed? Yummy on Shutter. I don't know if
Oh,
you
okay.
saw that one.
Not yet.
Yes, Dutch zombie movie on
Okay.
Shutter, and it is it's like it's funny when you're watching a comedy from over the pond, because everybody's like comedy beats are different. So it was very interesting to see like what they found funny, and what
Mhm.
they found like slapstick, type humor funny,
Yeah.
but it was
Is it
definitely.
zombies?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
zombies, yes.
Because for
But
whatever reason, it just made me think of Shaun of the Dead too, just as far as like the slapstick and
yes,
that movie is what kind of like um what's the word I'm looking for? Converted me to a real lover of comedy horror. Like I had enjoyed some comedy horror just because it was good and I liked it, but I would never go look for comedy horror to watch. Didn't really claim myself as a fan, but after that movie, I was like, yes, comedy horror is it, and give me more of it. I love it.
yes. Did you also see the movie that they made after that, the Fuzz, the Fuzz? It was.
Yes, I don't think I loved it as much. I'm pretty sure I watched it. I think he was a cop. Yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's so
It
many like
was.
cop movies too.
Yeah, there's so many. so many, but the horror comedy genre, it's like it's there. It's like sprinkled all over, like very very
Yeah.
sprinkled all over. Like, are there any recent horror comedies that you really dug?
Um, Let me think. The Menu wasn't necessarily a comedy horror, but it's definitely not. Let me think. What
I
did I
laughed a lot during the menu, so
do? What?
I laughed a lot during the menu.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it had some laughs in there. I mean, it is comedy horror, but it's not over the top. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that I guess would be the most recent one. I'm trying to look on a list here, like the things I've watched recently that are
But
new.
I saw you did bring up Deadstream, Um,
Oh
s-
yeah.
so how did you feel? How did you you were because I know a lot of people. I didn't watch Dash Cam because I just heard about what it was and I was just like,
Right.
and I heard a little bit about Deadstream and I was like, you know what? Let me check this out. Like I was just bored one night and I threw it on, and I enjoyed it for what it was. There were there were some issues that I had with the character, especially like in the beginning, with some of the things that he said, but it didn't necessarily like ruin the entire movie for me. But I can understand if it did, for some people. But I just feel like we can have a horror comedy movie and make fun of uh, someone or culture without like being, an asshole, So
Yeah, yeah. And I just couldn't connect with the movie, I guess. It just stayed looking cheap for me, even though, again, like I can watch an even cheaper movie and love it more. But it just felt, I just, I'm trying to remember exactly what my notes were about Deadstream, but I guess I just didn't like the guy enough. And that was the thing with Dash Kim. I was like, okay, I'm going to go into this and hate her and probably hate the movie. And I did for the most part. But after a certain point, she just became funny and just was just not so ridiculous that she was like loud and over the top, but just like her thoughts were just like, that is just so ridiculous, but so true in real life. That is what people are like. She was racist and this and that, but she had, her brown friend and she made hip hop and she rapped and she freestyled and all that. And it was just funny, the things that she was saying because of her background. And it was just like more like, they were making fun of her, that type of person she is in real life. So it was just funny to be able to laugh at her and see her go through the terror that she was going through. But with Deadstream, with the YouTuber, you know I don't know, I couldn't, I don't know why, but yeah, I would choose Dash Cam over Deadstream if I had to. So
okay, okay. Well,
yeah.
you know what? After your breakdown of Dash Cam for science, maybe I'll give it a look. For
There you
science.
go, for science.
Because I was when I first saw the trailers and things like that, I was excited for it. But then I saw all the feedback, and I was just like, oh man, this is but then again, you gotta sometimes you just gotta see things for yourself and then be like, okay, these are the issues that I had with it. Because I feel like well, a lot of not every movie, but a lot of movies nowadays they throw in a character who's like culturally insensitive or says something racist or whatever, and then they get their comeuppance, and uh they I guess it's like how they handle it and the climate and stuff like that. Like I think it's but I notice a lot of people throw that in their movies right now, so.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to make uh that money. And just disclaimer, like dash cam isn't a masterpiece or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just would choose it over Deadstream,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, between the
Yeah.
two of those. But speaking on that, last point about, the climate and stuff, now we're going to be seeing more and more, movies about the pandemic. And it's just going to be funny to see how that's handled because we recently just had Sick, which I was curious to see, how it was going to be handled. But yeah, it did a good job with, portraying how it totally freaking is. And then, you know, was pretty new. I won't talk much about it because I don't want to spoil it. So, but yeah, just another example of movies just taking advantage of, our lives,
Oh yeah.
and that's okay.
Oh yeah. It's I'm glad that we're going to start seeing more and more of that because I feel like at a certain point in time, like people were trying to shy away from the pandemic and stuff like that.
They
Like,
were,
and I'm
yeah.
and I get it, because some people were affected, by it as far as like they may have lost like loved ones close to them and things like that, which I get why, some of them would be sensitive to it. But
Hmm.
a lot of from my personal experience, a lot of people that I came across who didn't want to be reminded of the pandemic had gone through nothing, had lost nothing. They were just annoyed. They were like, "Oh, I don't want to see a mask on TV." And I'm like, "But
Yeah,
I'm just like, get out of here. This is what's really going on. What is this is art, reflecting, what's happening in life and seeing
exactly.
how that's going to play out. Like even with Pearl, something like what they did with Pearl with, a different time period, but a lot of similarities there with what's going on right now or what's, been
Yeah.
going on the past, couple years,
Hmm.
which is wild to say a couple years we've been in this thing.
Yeah, and it's probably gonna just be around forever kind of now at this point. It's just like we kind of lost.
Yeah.
We totally lost against COVID, and it's just still threatening in a lot of ways. So, oh well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We'll get at least we'll get some interesting horror movies out of it.
Yep.
We'll get the
Yep.
evolution of the zombie movie, evolution of the demon movie.
Yep.
With these masks and things like that. So
Mm.
my next question for you would be: do you have any favorite horror television shows? Past or present. You
Um, right now I am so in love with Yellow Jackets. Um, that one is just amazing. I am sitting here salivating for season two. It is just wonderful. Another one, it's sort of horror. I guess it's more thriller, but Severance just ended its first season, or I finished the first season recently. That one is really good. Um, American Horror Story has a bunch of seasons that I like Freak Show, Asylum, the first one, The House,
Murder House.
um, Murder
Yes.
House. But I haven't necessarily been religiously watching that recently. Um, but yeah, as far as newer ones go, off the top of my head, I'm sure I'll think of some more as we're talking.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, Yellow Jackets is amazing.
Oh, Yellow Jackets from the first episode, I was hooked. I was hooked.
Yes.
And then by the end of the season, I'm just like, what is happening? What is happening? Shout out to Misty. Misty is Misty's my
Yes.
girl,
Yes.
yeah.
Did you see Wednesday at all? The show Wednesday?
Yeah, yes,
So
yes,
yeah, I feel
yes. Loved
like
it. Loved it.
Misty is, or whatever. I forget her name, Richie's name in the show Wednesday, but she's basically Misty in
She,
Wednesday, which is
she
pretty
basically
funny.
is.
Yeah.
It's I, it's funny. Like I like spoilers, but everybody saw Wednesday. Like I'm sure everybody saw Wednesday in here. But Wednesday, when they first introduced Christina Ricci's character on the screen, I'm like, that's interesting. And then when she's like, oh, just want to make sure Wednesday, finds her way all right. Make sure that she feels comfortable in her new home and all that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cute. And then she didn't go nowhere, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're not gonna have her here, and she's just gonna just like be in the background. Like if they're not setting something up for the next season, they're setting something up for now. And when we saw that character's arc, evolve, and I was like, oh, she's definitely Misty, especially with the syringe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, because she wasn't really supposed to be, not supposed to be, but she wasn't included in the series, which was just insane. And I'm sure people were just kind of upset that she wasn't Morticia or even involved at all. So they just threw her in there, I'm sure, and just like, well, Yellow Jackets is really successful right now. Why don't you just go ahead and keep doing that? you know.
yes,
But whatever, I'll take it. I'll take it. Misty's a great character too, so whatever.
yes. And Germs, yes, Germs says Jasmine Savoy Brown is my everything. Facts, facts. She was kicking ass, and she was kicking ass in Yellow Jackets.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's Yellow Jackets. I can't say enough about, like you. I'm excited for season two. Can't wait. I'm excited for the community to do their breakdowns, like I know they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be very a moment. That's one of the things that I love about being in the community is that I things that I used to geek about by myself. Like I remember when Lovecraft Country was playing, and I would just hop on Twitter and see people you don't know, or just search certain things. And you're just like, oh, this person said this person said that. But now I know all these people who are hype about the same stuff that I'm hype about, and hype enough to create content about it, do breakdowns and reviews and stuff like that. Like it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, yes. Yellow Jackets. Now, uh, do you have a favorite video rental store? Growing up, you know.
I mean, yeah, I totally went to Blockbuster a lot. Um, I would go and get movies a lot of times, and then, with my mom, and then he was my uncle, technically, but he was 6 months older than me. So we would play together a lot. And so he and I, whenever we would hang out at my grandpa's house, would always go to Blockbuster and get video games. And so we'd always like rent one or two video games and, come back and play either Nintendo or Sega. Um, but yeah, it would definitely be Blockbuster. I'm sure I went to Hollywood Video once or twice for some reason, but it was definitely Blockbuster.
Yes, yes. Make it a blockbuster night. Make it a blockbuster night.
hmm
Yes. So you said you played games. Did you ever dip into the horror games, or do you still play games?
Um, I actually just recently, I didn't play horror games back in the day, but when the pandemic started, we got a Nintendo Switch to kind of, keep our brains busy. And I've got a couple of horror games. I forget what this one is called that I'm thinking of, but he's basically the characters in hell, and you have to like do all this stuff in hell. I'm trying to like talk it through, maybe think of the name, but anyway, I've downloaded a couple of games. I'm not a huge gamer. If anything, like I just go straight to Mario. The first game
Yes.
I bought was Odyssey and went through that really quick. Um, but yeah, I wish I had more time for video games, but yeah.
I think we all do. I think we all do. 'Cause I
yeah.
like I'll be working, and then I'm like, all right, time to create some content or go live, and then the system will be over there. Like I want to invest in a lot of these new systems, but I'm like, am I gonna spend 500-600 hours on something, and it just be sitting over there looking nice and being like, oh, I wish I had the time or the energy to dive
yeah.
into this like I want to, you know. Um, but right now I'm just digging up, like I'm in a mode of digging up like my old games. Like I'll jump
Nice.
on the Xbox 360, play some Left 4 Dead, or some Dead Space, or even the I still have the Nintendo 64. I bust out some 007, every once in a while, which is the
nice.
the old school, the very old school. Um, Now, do you have a favorite horror villain? You know,
Favorite horror villain. Um, let's see.
so many
I'm gonna have
choices.
Yes. I'm gonna have to go with, though, Candyman, because he's definitely, just one of the more he's just frightening, and that voice is just
Yes.
in your head and in your soul and in your heart, and it just captivates you every time. And it's just that I want to say that series, but that first movie is great. The whole series is pretty good, But yeah, just him and his backstory and all of that is just you know emotional and strong and scary all at the same time. So yeah, I'd have to go with Candyman.
Candyman, definitely up there, definitely up there. So what? Well, you said nothing compares to like the first one. So what did you think about like the backstory that they gave? When they started doing like the sequels and stuff like that. Because it,
Yeah,
it
I
got
didn't
interesting.
mind it. It made sense. As far as I don't know about if it made sense, but because it obviously didn't make sense that he would be back at the projects haunting his own people when it was the white folks who did him dirty, right?
Hmm.
But you know, it was just it was a sad backstory, and it gave him reason to kill people. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. They did you wrong. Go ahead and let your rage out. It's going back to those shorts that I did, about Pearl and Sissy, just sympathizing with the killer. I always like to see a situation from all angles. And not that it's right to just be a serial killer, obviously not, but I
Obviously.
understand. Yeah, obviously. Uh, but it's just a cool idea. Originally the story from Clive Barker, it wasn't even a black man. It was, not even the same, it was still projects, but it was like, all white folks, because it was taking place, not in America. And so, um, yeah, it was a sad backstory. It was moving, and it made me sympathize with him, which I'm okay with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely stood the test of time, had a message and everything like that. Like
Yeah,
what did you think about the latest one with Nia DaCosta's Candyman?
I liked it. I wanted to love it. And, I think I was putting too much on it, making it, or in my head, thinking that it would be exactly like the 90s version, but better, kind of like The Hills Have Eyes, or The Crazies.
Yes.
Those remakes were just like almost beat for beat the same, but also just not completely different, but had its own thing going for it too, and just updated. And that's what I was expecting from this. And so because of that, I just was let down, even though it's a beautiful film. And she did the damn thing as far as making a spiritual what do they call it, a spiritual,
Successor.
no, she called
Uh,
this something like spiritual remake. Yeah, that's what it was. Just
spiritual
spiritual
remake.
remake. And I appreciate that. It's like, a love letter to the original Candyman. But I am excited to see what they'll do in a part two. I need to see it again, the first one. And I do want to see where they'll take it, if they plan on taking it, elsewhere. It was a good movie. It was a good
Oh
movie.
yeah, it was good. Like there were some things I feel like could have been tweaked, but all in all, like I enjoyed myself, and it definitely hit some emotional beats.
Yeah.
Especially during like the credit scenes. I was like, damn, this is the most like this is crazy. Y'all, this I ain't felt this emotional during the credits since Spike Lee, since Black Klansman. It's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But uh, but yeah, Candyman definitely up there. I'm glad you mentioned him. I also want to take it back to a movie that we mentioned earlier, Sissy, because I mentioned you did a little voiceover for for that little description. But how did what were your thoughts about Sissy? Because you just brought up that you love when we have a film where we sympathize for the villain, so.
Yeah. Um, oh, sissy. Um,
Sincerely, Cecilia.
yes. It's just, it's this theme of trauma and it's totally relatable. Even before social media, when you're a child, your childhood just sticks out in your brain from the time that you're, 3, 4, 5 to 18. Like that just all sticks with you no matter what kind of growing and experiences you have. Like those feelings are just so strong. And then sometimes, when you're 25 or 30, those memories, even though they're more recent, they're not as strong and in your heart and brain as this younger time in your life. And so when you have kids teasing you and doing these things, it just really messes with you. It just gets into your head and it just starts to build and it never kind of goes away unless you really quote unquote do the work. And that doesn't mean you have to do all this and that. You just, in your mind, you just need to try to progress forward. And of course, that's easier said than done. Some folks just can't, and that's the whole point of this movie is that she is doing the work and she's helping other people do the work. And this trauma that she's had just brewing inside of her took literally almost no time to be unleashed into a violent thing. And I think more people than not can have that switch and don't even know it because they haven't been pushed there yet.
Yes.
But once you find yourself in that position, it's fight or flight. And that's what she was in. And she just made the wrong decision. And she could have very easily made the right decision, but it just happened to be this way. And she just kept going. It was just a domino effect. And that could just be anybody in the room in the theater. That could be like a third of the people's reaction. And they don't even know that or feel that or think that, you know? But that's just what happens. Sometimes people just freaking snap.
Oh
It's
yeah.
crazy. It's scary.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's very unpredictable. Like you don't know
Mhm.
who is, uh whose pencil is building up so much pressure, that they're about to just,
Yes.
burst. And that's why I liked like I love that movie. Just the even the beginning when we see her walking in, when we see her doing Sincerely Cecilia, and then the camera pans out and you see like the pizza boxes and stuff like that, and you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
this is we're getting to see like the real her and stuff like that. And then we're wondering, like, as the movie goes on, like, well, damn, what did she do? Because homegirl over here is acting like mighty, like mighty, like, what did she do? Then you found out what she did, and I'm like, ooh, you know kind of extreme, sissy. But then I felt like, on the other hand, you're a kid, you don't necessarily
Yes.
know how to deal with certain complex emotions, because we've all felt like that at some point in time. But some of us have had resources over others, to deal with things in a certain way, even as an adult, like having access to therapy or whatever. Like
Mhm.
I talk about it all the time. I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going through something and I react a certain way, and someone else is going through something and they react a certain way, I can't always, look at them and be like, oh man, well, I was like, we was in the same situation. So, like, why can't you react like this? And it's like, no, you guys don't have the same experiences, and you don't have the same, resources, like that
Right.
other people, do. Like I'm a big proponent of like, going to see therapy and going to see a therapist and stuff like that. Like I've been in therapy for like probably over a year now, which is like, helped tremendously with everything that's going on with this pandemic and just life and everything. So I'm a
Definitely.
huge proponent, because I feel like if Sissy had a therapist, maybe it would have turned out a little bit, maybe it would have turned out a little bit different. Although
Yeah.
I do want a sequel. I don't know how you feel, but I do want a sequel. You
Oh shoot, my brain's going a different direction. What were we just talking about? What movie?
Sissy.
Oh yes, Sissy. Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be cool to have her snap again. Yeah.
on a bigger platform because
Yeah.
she's
Okay.
got all these more followers now and stuff like that. So
Okay. Yeah, that'd be cult status like Jim Jones, where she has them all do mass suicide. That'd be pretty cool.
oh, you just added another element.
She's
I
like, you
like
know what?
that.
This whole world sucks. Nobody learns their lessons about nothing. I suck. Let's just all die together.
Ooh, ooh. And I see.
Although, yeah, go ahead.
No, what were you going? What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna correct myself because although it's believed that Jim Jones didn't necessarily kill himself, they believe that somebody else killed him. That he would have just let all those 1,000 people die and he would have walked away. But we'll just pretend that he also killed himself in that story for
Mm,
the sequel for Sissy.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Mika. She said. She had mentioned Tony Todd. So I'm gonna throw Tony Todd as Sissy's therapist. I'm gonna throw him
There
in
you
there.
go.
Ooh, see, Shutter,
Wise,
Iris,
old.
holla
Yeah.
at us, holla at us. We are over here. We over here. Yes, yes. Now, my next question would be: do you have a favorite final girl, and do you have a favorite final boy?
Oh man. Shoot. Let's see. Slashers, huh?
Oh yeah,
Um. Uh, so since slashers aren't like my number one thing to go to, I'm gonna just go with Heather Langenkamp because I just love Freddy Krueger. He's one of
yes,
my favorites as well. Like just him and Candyman are neck and neck pretty much. They
yes.
both feed off the fear of people. They need that fear from people to survive. And Heather's just always one to be, or Nancy, is just a smart, intelligent character. She thinks things through and she's, just a strong, confident person and always was from, the first film. She didn't take shit from anybody. And so, um, yeah, she was just a cool chick in my eyes watching her. Because, my favorite films in that franchise are the ones basically with her, you know? So it was just like, that's her franchise, basically. It's her and Freddie for me. So,
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. Definitely agree. Now, Final Boy. Do you have a favorite Final Boy? Anyone who survives? At the
Mm,
end.
anybody who survived, that's a boy. Um,
And it's
um,
okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. LL doesn't deserve all the all the love all the time.
let's see. Boys don't usually survive. um, but I know there's somebody there that I'm not thinking of right now. If it comes to me, I'll
Yeah,
think.
it's okay. Yeah, we'll come back to it if it comes to you. Um, Now, did you have a favorite quarantine movie, like a go-to quarantine movie when we were on lockdown? When we were on lockdown.
That I would watch over and over.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. I think we started watching Breaking Bad again, as far as like rewatching um, something. I'm trying to think of a movie if I like watched it a couple of times during that time. That was like, I mean, probably Bug and Afterlife, the movies that I talk about um, often. Um, Slither is definitely a comfort movie. I just always want to hear "I'm so hungry" every now and again. Like I just have to hear it. Um, but yeah, nothing different than what I've already been talking about, I think.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Some good picks. Some good picks. Now, we're winding down. Got my last, final two questions for the interview, but I want to thank you for rocking out with me, so far. This has been fun, getting to know you through the lens of horror, So
Thank
let's
you.
get to it. The virtual world, is starting to expand, and we got, like metaverse and everything like that, and people starting to buy more of the virtual reality Oculus goggles and things like that, and us being able to create our own realities. And there's going to be a spot for horror and the horror community within that world. So if I were to put on the Oculus goggles and I'm looking into rainbowFRIGHT's world, or rainbowFRIGHT's room, like describe the scenery, describe what I'm gonna be looking at. You
Like a horror setting type
know?
deal.
Oh yeah, or whatever. It could not be horror. Like it could be anything. Like what am I going to be looking at? When I put those Oculus goggles on.
Sure. So just thinking of terms of my channel, Rainbow Fright, what I see there is just like a dark gray land, dark gray trees, but the sky is rainbow and sparkling. And then
Oh,
but you also see on earth just like weird shit hanging from the trees, like creepy stuff but still cool to look at, like eyeballs or um just weird objects that you don't even know what they are, slimy things, but also some beautiful flowers just popping out from the bases of those trees or the weird things that are on the ground. Um, there's some wind, and you hear the whistle of that wind, but you can also feel and hear the twinkle of the stars and the rainbow above. And it's just beautiful yet creepy once you look at it more closely, you know? The
wow.
closer you look, the more there is to see.
That was very descriptive. Like I would love to read that book. Like when you were like you can like the twinkle of the stars. You can hear the twinkle of the stars. Wow, wow. Okay, okay. Very very visual. I love that. I love that description. I love that description. Um,
Thanks.
that would definitely be some place that I would love to visit, sober or not sober. I feel like I'd have a good time either way. Either way, I'm having a good time.
Both will be good. Yep.
Yes. Now, my last question would be, if you could spend the day in the life of your favorite, horror villain or creature or spirit, 24 hours, as this person or being or thing, like what would it be or who would it be?
Hmm. Who would I want to be for 24 hours? Let's see. Um, trying to think of non-horror, but horror too. I'm so bad at these types of on-the-spot questions, but I am gonna come up with something for this one. I promise. Um, let's see.
It's all right. 24 hours. 24 hours is someone or something.
Let me look here on my little list of movies. What do we
Oh, yeah.
got?
Crack the letterbox out. That's why letterbox is the goat. It's the goat.
Because I don't really want to be any of these people. Like, I watch you because that's not what I want to be doing myself. So I get
Yeah.
that out of you. So I'm trying to think of like badass people, but that kind of comes out of horror. But then, yeah, you can think of final girls and such. But let me, let's see. Yeah, like I'm looking at my titles here and I'm like, I don't want to be any of those people. Okay. Letterbox is a good idea. Let's do that too.
Yeah, Letterbox is the goat. Letterbox. I always have it pulled up for for people who like to throw me questions, and I'm just like, huh? What year did this come out?
Yeah. Who directed this and the producers of that?
Who's your favorite
Um,
producer, Ty? Oh shit.
Suspiria is a movie that I would be down to be in, actually, if I
Yes.
could have that, power to do, cast spells with dance. That's pretty awesome. I would definitely want to
Okay.
do that for 24 hours.
24 hours, Suspiria.
Yeah,
I'm digging it.
yeah,
I'm digging it.
yeah.
That's a nice choice. That's a very nice choice. And no one's ever chosen that. A lot of people go for like a Jigsaw, and some people go for Freddy, but
Jigsaw is a
Suspiria.
good one. Yeah, that's definitely one of my top franchises too, and that's actually a good idea. Uh, Saw and Suspiria.
Yes,
That's a good
yes.
one.
Wow, now that's a combination. Saw Spiria. I like that. I like that. I like that. Well, thank you once again for joining us tonight and answering all my questions. It's been awesome. Like I've been a uh big fan of your channel ever since I came across it. I love what you do. Hope that you continue to keep doing and move forward and grow and prosper in all of your future endeavors. So
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here and for your support. This has been awesome, and can't wait for the next one.
yes, yes, most definitely, most definitely. We'll get you on one of these discussions. We'll chop it up about something fun. It'll be normally when we do the discussions, people are drinking and it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So but yeah, thank you. I want everybody to check out Rainbow Fright and everything that she's got going on. I've got the links in the description, so I need you to follow her YouTube channel because it is amazing, amazing. The quality, the content, top tier. Also follow her on social media. Got the Twitter and the Instagrams down there as well.
Thank you.
So just make sure that you check her out. She's awesome. I also want to thank everybody in the chat for stopping through. Thank you, Mika. Thank you. Great conversation. Thank you, Jaleesa. Thank you, Germs. Thank you, uh, Shasha, for stopping by earlier. Thank you, everybody. Terrell for stopping by. Everybody who stopped by tonight. Whitney, King Gore. Thank y'all. Keisha, I really appreciate y'all for stopping by. It's been another episode of Evil Live. And as always, peace, love, and horror, people. Good night. Good night.